thank you everyone for joining us for this session of Webinar Wednesday. As you noticed by the title, today we are going to discuss GeoSync GO Field collection and integration with ArcGIS, basically a workflow process from more of a field to finish type process. We're going to look at the ways that we can handle that with GeoSync GO, and our end result will be in ArcGIS. As usual, we are staying with our motto of everyday technology and everyday work. Today's examples will show primarily or mostly utility work, utility collection, using mobile technology, phones, tablets, desktop, GIS data, so we'll pull it all together. And today's webinar will also, typically we focus on one application or one tool. Today, as I mentioned, is more of a process type webinar, a field to finish type process. So we'll actually be discussing most, if not all, of the GeoSync GO applications and tools. Everything from GeoSyncGO GO Mobile, Plus, Desktop, AM tools, and actually basically one of the add-ins, but we will be looking at add-ins. So to get started, first thing we'll talk about is the field collection with GeoSync GO. We'll actually utilize GeoSync GO as our field collection tool out in the field collecting data. We can use, for this process, you can utilize GeoSyncGO GO Mobile, the original mobile product application, the GeoSyncGO GO Desktop. Of course, that one has to be on a Windows platform. Or you can use our latest and greatest GeoSyncGO GO Plus. Now, the reason we can do this is because of the common components of all these apps. The common components are and the basis are our GeoSyncGO GO workflow database. That's where we store our GeoSyncGO GO features. So the workflow data, and our GeoSyncGO GO forms. These are basically new feature reports. The forms we fill out, basically our data dictionary, if you will, and the fact that it is all cloud-based transfer. In all of these cases, the data will end up in our workflow database, whether it be, in this case, what we're looking at, we have a web-hosted database. So use all three applications, and the data ends up in the master GeoSyncGO GO workflow database. But for this, we're going to actually pick one to work with to make it a little more clear. We'll use GeoSyncGO GO Plus for our field collection. So we go out in the field. We have GeoSyncGO GO Plus open, and we need to capture a location. We're basically doing data collection with geospatial components. So we have to know where the feature is that we're collecting. There are two ways that well, three ways really, but two basic processes to collect a location. You can actually simply click on the map at the location, manually pick the location from the map, or if you have GPS, either on board or if you're connected to a GNSS device. So if you have a GPS location, you can utilize that. So you can either use the GPS location, or you can click on the map and manually pick your location code. So once you have a location, the next thing to do is to actually collect a feature at that location. So if you have selected the location manually from the map, you simply click the folder icon. It opens your different forms. In this case, I've already selected a water meter form. I'm collecting a water meter, so my water meter form opens up. If I have a GPS on, either internal or using the GNSS devices, say the Trimble R1 or R2, my GPS location will show up here as a blue dot, the white circle. It's showing me. This one I'm actually using my internal GPS on my phone, so I'm not getting like great of the precision on the GPS. However, if you were using GNSS, that would be a lot better. So once the GPS is on, you don't have to click the point. Simply go up to the menu top and select New Collection. That will open your list of forms. You would select the type of feature you want to edit. In this case, again, we've selected water meter, so the water meter form opens up. At this point, I simply go through and fill in the information for the feature on the form for the feature, hit save. Optionally, I can add media if I need to. If I want to take a picture of that meter, say it's in an odd location or there's something we need to know about it for whatever reason, we can actually, before we save it, we can click media. If we're on a phone or a tablet, we can actually capture when we capture the photo, we can tie it to the feature, or we can link photos that we've already taken. We can actually browse to them. So that's all in another video. But anyway, we can actually add media. Once you hit save, this the report is saved. If we are using, of course, in this case, GeoSyncGO GO Plus, we're going to be connected. We'll have a data connection, so that record is automatically saved in our cloud-hosted workflow database. So there's a database in the cloud. This location, this feature, its location, that record, that data is stored in the cloud database. So it's automatic. Now, if you were using one of the other apps, GeoSyncGO Go Mobile or GeoSyncGO Go Desktop, and you're disconnected, it will save that location until you get connected, and then we'll upload it to the database. So the next thing we'll want to do is actually get that field data, or our field data that we collected, to ArcGIS. There's a couple different processes, a couple different ways you can do this, different setups. The first one we're going to look at is the export shape method. Like in this case, what we'll do, we'll use GeoSyncGO AM tools to connect to our data in the cloud and simply export a shape file that we can then add into ArcGIS. And basically to do that, you open up GeoSyncGO AM tools, go to the workflow database tab under data sources. You typically want to refresh just to make sure you can see what you've got going on, but it will show you how many features are in that. Like in this case, my water meters, I got 83 water meters. Now this is looking at the database in the cloud. So we've got to get that locally so we can work with it in ArcGIS. So easy thing to do, you pick the feature that you want to work with. In this case, I've selected, turn the check mark on for water meters, and you'll notice in WF that means it's a workflow layer. So I select meters, click export, and another dialog opens up to let you pick a projection file. In this case, I've selected North American NAD83, actually, which is probably the most common. So yeah, select your projection, and this is to automatically transform coordinates from WGS84 to NAD83. That's some of the GPS devices use WGS84. We need to get it into NAD83. It handles that correction for you. So back to basics. Select the projection file, click OK. Once we click OK, AM Tools exports an ESRI formatted shape file to a folder on your local hard drive. And it's under the GeoSyncGO folders, under My Documents, GeoSyncGO, Export, Shape Files, and it's actually a time and date stamped file. So it's export year, month, day, and time. So what we just did was we connected to the data in the cloud and export a shape file for the meters that we collected. Now that's stored on our hard drive. Now the other method is what we consider a local database method. In GeoSyncGO AM tools, now this method takes a little more setup. This is typically what we use for our what we call solution customers that are on support. We work with regularly. We typically set this up. So this one, the local database method, it's just that. We actually have a local copy of the workflow database. Excuse me. So if you open GeoSyncGO AM tools and click on under data sources, if you select local database and refresh, you'll see a listing here of the workflow databases that are in your account, basically. So you can drop that down and select your workflow database. The name of this local database usually matches up to the name of your actual workflow database in the cloud. They're similar. So typically just have one. Anyway, Select that, refresh, and you can see all the tables in that database, or your different layers. Now, that is just again, that's just basically a copy of your workflow database that's in the cloud. If you select, and this is the one, the workflow, we actually have that as a connection in ArcGIS. Now we'll see why that matters a little later. We can't connect to the cloud-based workflow just for security reasons, so we actually have a local copy. So the process to get your cloud-hosted workflow database information down to the local machine, to have a local copy of it, is pretty simple as well. You select the workflow database, and again, similar to what we talked about, the shapefile export, the workflow database is a connection. That is the database that's hosted in your cloud account. That is the master collection database, if you will, that we're working with. So the features that we collect in the field, say our water meters, would be added directly to this database. So again, we can't allow the end user to directly connect ArcGIS to this database, mainly for security reasons, several other reasons. But we have a simple solution. You go to AM Tools, select the workflow database. I usually refresh it just to make sure I've got a clear view of it. I would, in this case, you don't even have to select a feature. What we'll do, under the tools, we'll select import to local database. What that does is that takes the cloud database, our master database, and overwrites the local database, our local database. So once we run this, our local database and our cloud hosted workflow database will match, will be the same. So update the local from the cloud database. Like it downloads and overwrites what's on your local. So you've got a current local copy of what's in the cloud, your master database. And simply, like I said, go here, click on the tools. I usually refresh, but click the tools, import to local database. Grab the cloud, copy to local. And again, the nice thing about that, once we have a local copy of this database, we can actually make that connection in ArcGIS. So once we import the local, we open up Arc, and that database is already there. The features, the field features are already there, and we'll look at that a little more closely. So we've got the data exported, ready for ArcGIS. We'll drop back over to the shape export method if we've gone into GeoSync AM Tools and exported a shapefile. Basically, the process there, you want to add the shapefile to ArcGIS. You go in your MXD and browse, add data and browse to this folder. Again, when you export, it is time and date stamped. So under My Documents, GeoSyncGO, Export, Shapefiles, EXP dash, and it'll have the year, the month, the day, and the time for that file that each time you export from AM Tools, export a shapefile. So we go and find that file, add it to our MXD. Once it's there, we'll utilize the GeoSync or the MapSync tools. Append layers to GIS tool. It's part of the MapSync GPS to GIS toolbar right here. The tool itself is the append layers to GIS tool. Is this one right here that looks the green and blue box, basically. So once you select that, it opens up the dialog, and you simply select your source. In this case, the layer we exported from AM Tools. That's the source we're importing from. And you select your target, where we want that to go. This is our master desktop GIS layer. It's our master. In this case, I think we're doing water meters. So the source is my field collected meters. The target is my water meters, my master water meters layer. Now, this being GeoSyncGO Go, we do maintain an ID in here, so this import process will not update unless we have it set up to do. Well, actually will. by default, we're going to only add the new features to our master layer. So we take our source, our target, then we need to match the fields. The field names could be different between the two. It's a lot easier when you build your data dictionary for GeoSync Go, if you make your field names the same as what's in your master layer. That way you can just hit this button in the middle and it matches everything up. But if they are different, like here's one, since that's a shape file, it truncated my description. So my description is descript6. So I select that, select the description on this side, and match it up so I can match those fields up. So you can see description is going to bring in descript6. If your field names are different, or if your shape files get truncated, you may have to manually match these up before you append. Once you get the field names matched, you append the update and append. You append the selection. They'll add the new features to the master layer. At that point, once this is finished, you'll want to remove the layer, the shape file that we added from the field, just to clean up your data. And actually, when the GPS to GIS pen tool finishes, it will ask you if you want to remove that. In this case, with shape files, we've got a shape file for each. We're going to be exporting multiple shape files this way, so you'll probably want to take it out, just let it remove it, so we can keep things clean. So at that point, you've collected information in the field with GeoSyncGO Plus. We've downloaded it and we've appended it to our master database in ArcGIS. Now, the other method, the local database method. Remember, this is the one where we actually said we're not exporting from AM Tools. We go to AM Tools and we update our local database. It automatically, with the click of one button, we've got a copy of what's in the cloud on our local. So with that, in ArcGIS, we can have our local copy of the database preloaded as a connection. So I can have my layers, and as you can see here, I've actually created a group here called Field Collection, and my GPS meters, I've renamed it, or my workflow meters in this case is renamed to GPS meters, just so it makes sense, because these are going to stay. So there's my meters, my valves. I've got everything grouped together in one nice collection, one nice group. But from GeoSync Go AM Tools, once I do that copy to local database, this is updated. So that GPS meters has all my GPS meters that I've collected. So I don't have to go and find a export file and add it and worry about taking it out and all that. From that point, the steps are fairly similar because this is the field collection layer, not my master. So I need to get the GPS field collection, the meters from my GPS field collection into my master meters layer. So at this point, it's similar to what we did with shapefile. We'll use the GPS GIS pen tool or the pen to GIS layers tool. Once that opens, same as before, we'll select our target, or our source, I'm sorry. In this case, is our GPS meters, which is already there. And then we select the target layer, our W meters layer. That's our master meters layer in this case. And click append, update append. It will take the features from the GPS meters layer and add them to my W meters. Now, since this does have all of our collection, if there's a meter that we've collected previously, it will not add that twice. It doesn't duplicate. It'll only add newly collected features, and we manage that in the background with an ID. So you don't have to worry about clearing that layer out, taking it out. It knows if there's a meter already there, and it doesn't add it again. Ignore this last one, because just the opposite. Once you append, now this tool asks you if you want to remove the source layer. In this case, if you're using the local database method, you want to say no, because you want to leave your, in this case, GPS meters layer in there. So the next time you just open up an append. At that point, once it finishes, again, in this case, you do not want, using the local database method, you do not want to remove the source layer. So at that point, your master data is updated, and you'll want to update the GeoSyncGO mapping data. So you You've updated your master GIS data, so now I want to push it back out to my GeoSync GO map. So people are viewing or using that map data, mobile or using the GeoSync GO map, we'll have an updated or refreshed map. Pretty much go into, you export the layers that have changed from ArcGIS. And again, you can do anything from shape files to personal geodatabase to file geodatabase. So unless you want to export your current master data from ArcGIS to GeoSync GO, the next step is to publish that layer, that information to GeoSync GO, to the cloud. And it can be utilized in GeoSyncGO Plus, mobile, or desktop. I'm not going to go through the steps on publishing. That we do have a good video for that if you want to check out the tips and tricks for exporting from ArcGIS. We have a webinar that was recorded on our YouTube channel. So some good information there. Don't want to confuse it with everything else. So that's it. That's the field to finish. We collected in the field. We downloaded our data from the cloud. We appended or updated our master GIS data, and we're publishing back out that data back out to be consumed by GeoSyncGO. That's all I have. Thank you very much.